Patreon.com/the Walk-Off Podcast. $4 a month gets you in there.
All right. I don't want to keep you from your snow shoveling too long here, Jeff. So we'll quickly get a couple listener questions in and we'll let you be on your way. Again, thank you so much for joining us.
All right. We got a new catchphrase for the show, though. The Walk-Off Podcast. It's better than shoveling snow. So I'm sure we'll get the graphics done up over the weekend and throw your face on there, Jeff. All right.
From shoveling BS to shoveling snow.
Oh, that's way better. That's way better. That's why you're the pro. All right. We got two questions we'll get to here and we'll let you go. So first one comes in from our YouTube comments. The Chuck 181 says, "Hey, Jeff, on your podcast last week, Barker had said Bo's relationship with the Jays is souring. Is that just a rumor or is there more to that?"
I mean, Kevin, frankly, has sources in that organization that I don't. Well, I'll put it this way. Anytime anybody talks to Vladdy about signing a long-term contract here, he says he's ready to sign a long-term contract here. Anytime anybody talks to Bo about signing a long-term contract, he essentially says he wouldn't mind signing a long-term contract here. But there's always kind of that, that ...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Bo did renew. He forced the Blue Jays to renew him last year, which doesn't necessarily make a difference in terms of how much money he would end up making, but it is an indication that, and Alec Manoah did the same thing, by the way. It is an indication that Bo's value of himself does not match, or Bo and his agent's value of himself does not match the Blue Jays' valuation of him. Let's see what happens. Arbitration salary figures are exchanged. I believe today's the exchange date. Let's see what happens here. Let's see what the difference is between Bo Bichette's ask and the Blue Jays offer. Let's see what the back and forth is about that. Bo's been very quiet this offseason. I don't know if he's doing stuff in the winter tour. I don't think he is. I don't want to read too much into that. I know there are people who are going to go, "Oh my God, he's pissed off at the organization, so he's not coming up to Toronto in January." I wouldn't want to go there. But there has always been the sense that that Bo is going to be the tougher sign than Vladdy. And part of that may be, it may be a language thing in that, when you're speaking in your first language, you're generally more comfortable with nuance and choosing words. Mm-hmm. And plus Bo's a really, and I'm not saying Vladdy isn't smart, but Bo's a really smart guy. And when you're really smart speaking in your first language, it can be a little more blunt. People tend to read things into it more. Whereas Vladdy's approach, as I said, has always been, "Yeah, I want to play here. I want to play here. I want to be a career Blue Jay." Vladdy never even mentions, he never even mentions the money. He just says, "I want to play here. I want to be here every day." And he doesn't say, "I want to be here every day, but they're going to have to pay me one." So it's going to, there's none of that. Yeah. And I also think that I think that there's also, frankly, I just think it's harder to sign Bo because of the position too, because he's shortstop. He knows what's going on. He sees the money these guys are making, and he can compare his numbers over the past 3 years to Carlos Correa, better or close. And so I think that may be the sort of the nexus of that situation. And the other thing, and I don't think I'm telling tales out of school here, but I think that Bo is a lot happier having John Schneider as manager than he was having Charlie Montoyo as manager. Okay. And that's, he just is. I think there was a sense that Charlie wasn't as supportive of some of his players as they expected him to be. I know that the day when Charlie was fired, I mean, it was really hard. Usually a manager gets fired and all you hear is, boy, we let him down. We feel like this is on us and this is a reflection of us. It's not a reflection on him. He's a great. There was none of that. There was a sense of it had to happen.
Yeah.
And on the record and off the record, there was a sense of it had to happen. And I can just tell you, Bo was one of the players. There were a couple of other guys. Jordan Romano was another guy. There are a couple of players who were not upset that happened. So maybe that kind of fed into this as well. But let's see what happens in arbitration this year, and let's see where that goes with Bo and the Blue Jays. I will say this: knowing Bo as I do, it's not irreparable. Whatever stress there is, if the Jays made him an offer that he was comfortable with, he'd sign.
Yeah.
So it's not to the point where he won't sign.
Do you think, just quickly here, do you think that there is anything they can do with arbitration negotiations this year to maybe make up for last year? Do they slide him an extra $1 million on their offer, or does that make a difference? Is that a waste of time to even bother?
I don't think that's the way they work. I think they're pretty cut and dried when it comes to arbitration. And Bo is another off season where Bo's seen guys sign free agent contracts, right? And
there's going to be more big contracts over the next 3 years that he's going to get to watch, right? Juan Soto, Shohei Ohtani. I know they're not the same position, but the whole market's going to inflate over the next 3 years. He is no rush to sign something big.
And I've made this point several times with because people have said, okay, well, the Atlanta Braves got all their players signed and all this, but let's keep in mind that a lot of the signings that Atlanta gets done, I can't say this any delicate way. Bo and Vladdy's fathers made a crap ton of money as ball players. Both of those kids are set for life.
Right.
A guy like Ozzie Albies, that the Braves took advantage, frankly, of the domestic situation of some of their minor league players to get them signed to these bargain basement contracts. Vladdy's old man's a Hall of Famer, right? And he's made a ton of money. Bo's old man has gone to the All-Star game and is a bright guy and took care of his money, right? So you're talking about two guys who have a real good sense of what they should be paid. And that's always, I just think that's something you need to keep in mind when you talk to these guys, the domestic background. Yes, guys want to get paid what they're worth, but there are guys who will look at a situation and go, boy, I really like it here. I may cut them a break. And God, even if I cut them a break, I'm still going to be able to take care of my family for life. These two guys don't see it that way.
Fair enough. So many follow-up questions going through my head right now, but I know we're running tight for time here and I don't want to keep you too long. I do got to get to this one last listener question though. Mr. Krister wants to know, which new acquisition do you think will overachieve or surprise Jays fans the most? And is there a particular addition that you personally are really excited to see on this team? And then we'll let you out of here.
Yeah, I mean, the addition, I'm going to phrase this way. The addition I'm excited to see is Kevin Kiermaier, just because I love watching him catch balls in the outfield. So that is going to be, going to be a guy that I am really, really intrigued with. I talked about this a little bit at the start is Dalton Varsho. I'm really, he's such a good athlete. We haven't even talked about how the rules changes may affect him. I think this guy's going to surprise people with the number of bases he steals this year. Kevin talked to him about he's pretty much a pull hitter. He's a left-handed pull hitter. I'm intrigued by seeing what a year around Don Mattingly will do for him. Another one of the great left-handed hitters of all time. I of all the moves they made the offseason, when we went in the offseason, I said to myself, I don't want to see Lourdes Gurriel Jr. and Teoscar Hernandez both in the outfield next year. I don't. If we see that, they're not going anywhere. That's not good enough defensively. And I just don't know about Lourdes. I don't know if Lourdes is ever going to have, I don't know if he's ever going to hit for power anymore. So Dalton Varsho would be the guy that I think he's got the potential to really improve on the numbers that he put up last year. But in terms of just flat out enjoying watching the dude play, it'll be Kevin Kiermaier. And maybe part of that is he played for Tampa, right? How many times, Jays fans, how many times has Kevin Kiermaier done something to break your heart, right?
Oh, yeah.
Too many. Too many.
Exactly. So maybe I'm kind of I'm playing off that a little bit. But yeah, I think Dalton. I had a good feeling about the Dalton Varsho deal the day it was made. I thought that's exactly what they need. He profiles perfectly, and you know, I think he's going to enjoy playing in the AL East. I get the sense that this is a guy that is very comfortable, kind of in that environment, right? That really competitive environment where it's going to be it's going to be hot. You know, he talked to us about coming up through the Diamondbacks organization. He loved the players and he loved the organization, but there was kind of that ... right? Essentially, but if I'd stayed with the Diamondbacks, I'd never get in the postseason because of the division work. And I think moving to the AL East is going to be, he's going to play up to it. And I think it's a really, really good pickup for them. I really do. And it's a pickup they had to make. They absolutely had to make that deal.
He is a great fit within this team.
Yes.
Honestly, Jeff, again, thank you so very much for taking the time to join us. We know you do not have to join a couple boneheads on a small podcast, so we appreciate it.
No problem. I feel bad for last week I was supposed to be on. I literally forgot, but I learned my lesson, went out and brought me my 2023 moleskin.
There you go. You got your agenda.
I got my agenda. There's no excuses. Guys, thanks a lot.
Absolutely, Jeff. We are
it.
big fans. We'll bug you mid-season. Maybe we can twist your arm to come back on. Until then, a very happy 2023 to you.
You guys too. Take care.
All right. Cheers.